happens and watch it later, or if you want to refer this to somebody else. It will also be up on our website at the healthforceminnesota.org. Okay. Hello, everyone. If you haven't done so, please put your microphone or your speaker on mute. I've put most of you on mute as already. We're happy that you joined the MnSHEP Advisory Council to learn more about the history, webinars, and the future plans for MnSHEP. My name is Sue Field, and I am the Director for Statewide Healthcare Education and Industry Partnerships in Minnesota. I work for Health Force Minnesota, which is one of 8 centers of excellence within the MnSCU college system. And if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and just pose into the chat area. Let me make sure I've got the chat right there. And let's see, a couple people here. Okay, you can hear. So if you have questions along the way, go ahead and put them in the chat area. We will start the presentation at about 10 to 11 and address any questions that people might have. As far as the objectives for today, they include identifying the mission and history of MnSHEP, learning about how to access the MnSHEP website, resources, and simulations, to review the benefits of memberships to national simulation organizations, along with information on regional and national simulation conferences, and a review of the webinars planned for spring of 2016. I'm with Diane Gold, who is here as well. She's on our advisory council, and she also works for Health Force Minnesota as a consultant. Diane was involved in the original MnSHEP, and you hear me calling it MnSHEP. She'll explain that to you. This started about 15 years ago, and so she's going to share with you the history of.
Okay, this is Diane. MnSHEP, we started in about 2000. It started with a group of us being at a simulation conference down in Ridgewater. At that time, it involved MnSCU systems, some of the university systems, both public and private, also Health East partners that were doing it. Our main goal back then was to develop a networking system because we were just starting to use simulation within the state, and Ridgewater and Metro Health East, the 2 big simulation centers, and we're using more of the props and resources at that time. So we decided that we needed to network and to share resources. And at that time, we developed about 12 to 16 of us in the group at the time, and we each agreed to do one simulation. Some of them are still on the website and been updated, but we'll show you the website. I developed the website as part of my sabbatical one year, and decided that was a good way to communicate with people. We used to meet quarterly, and we visit different simulation labs, usually to somebody who had a new simulation lab at the time that quarter, and what resources they were using and how they were doing simulation. For the last 5 years, MnSHEP has kind of gotten lost because most people were using it, change of faculty, and there weren't a lot of people interested in doing it. But next year, a lot of people have asked about MnSHEP and what happened to the website. Is it still there? They're looking for new ideas of how to do things. So, and restarted MnSHEP, and we'll go ahead and talk about some of the things that we've been doing since then. do you want? So right now, when MnSHEP began, it was on the health website. If some of you have been in MnSCU that long, the Health Education Industry Partnership, and moved to Health Force Minnesota site. We Advisory Council. Courses, we've been updating them. Have the new template that we're going to be following. Changed it from MnSHEP to MnSHEP. Clarified that it's part of Minnesota, because the M before, we all knew it within the state, but people outside of the state didn't know there was a Minnesota program, so we decided to put the N in it to make sure that people understood that it was from Minnesota. We revised the mission statement to make it more up to date. There's a newsletter that was launched. We had one sent out to all of those that signed up on the site this last month, and then we plan on webinars quarterly or monthly depending on the needs. So that's where we're at now with the history.
Okay, thank you, Diane. And just so that you know, we have about 200 members on our listserv already, so it's been there's been a lot of interest in the MnSHEP group. As far as the advisory board, that has been priceless, particularly for Health Force Minnesota as we try to revitalize this. Their contribution to this work and the direction they have given has been absolutely wonderful. The advisory committee consists of representatives from 3 different areas: the university systems, the college systems, and then also industry partnerships. Carol Reed from Metro State was involved previously in MnSHEP, and she is also involved now. She's on sabbatical this semester, but she's been a great help. There's Tiffany from Bethel College, Kelgren from St. Kate's. Molly has asked to step down because she's been getting pretty busy lately with her dissertation. Representatives from 2-year colleges, including Jane McKinley from Riverland College, Jean Cleary from Ridgewater College, Rose Raleigh from Century College, and new board member Annette Benson from South Central College. Then we have Sandra Sellner from Riverland, who represents Allied Health. And our industry partners include Gail Johnson from Health Partners and Barb Peterson from Children's Hospital, as well as myself and Diane from Health Force Minnesota. Our mission, we really looked at that to see where we were at right now with mission as far as simulation and what we needed to promote in Minnesota. So the Minnesota Simulation for Healthcare Education Partnerships, MnSHEP now, promotes simulation excellence by providing evidence-based resources and support for educators. So that's what our mission is, and you'll find that as we go over the resources, you'll see that we've got evidence-based resources, and also with the webinars and the different things that we will be promoting, they will help to support you as educators. We also foster an academic practice partnership to promote research and provide collaborative learning opportunities in simulation. So we're really excited about our mission and how we are going forth on that. And at this time, we will have Gail join us. Gail Johnson is from Health Partners. She has been very, very valuable in our advisory council. And Gail, would you go ahead and explain our national organizations?
There are a number of national resources and organizations dedicated to simulation. What we'll share with you is not the old organizations, but they're the ones that are primarily simulation focused. Specialty areas are also doing more with simulation, but their primary mission is not that focus, so they're not listed here. Certainly the first one is the National League for Nursing, the Simulation Innovation and Resource Center, or CIRC. The website is up there for you, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that later in the presentation, as well as have a chance to see some links to the website. But the CERC was a collaborative alliance between the National League for Nursing and Laerdal Medical, manager of many of our mannequins and other simulation technologies. The focus of this was to develop a community of nurse educators who can effectively and efficiently utilize simulation to promote and evaluate student learning, practitioner education, and have a chance to dialogue. So they have some wonderful online resources, some assessment tools. They have been instrumental in some of the research surrounding simulation, theoretical frameworks, etc. Another organization, national organization, you can choose to join as a member is the International Nursing Association for Clinical Simulation and Learning, or INACSL. INACSL is a primarily nursing focused and historically had been more academic rather than practice involved, but that's been changing over the last couple of years. But again, it's mostly a nursing focused simulation association. And then there's the Society for Simulation in Healthcare, is more interprofessional. It started off many, many years ago being more of a physician-based, but in the last at least 10 years that has changed. And there's probably about 3,000 or so international members from around the world, and they really focus a lot on research and international and interprofessional simulation. Next. One of the participating in national organizations, whether it's Society for Simulation in Healthcare or in INACSL, is there are opportunities to get a reduction if you're interested in simulation certification. See, you have a little hand button, those of you who are on the call. Can I just see a show of hands? How many people are familiar with the CHSE or CHEESE certification, that you've heard of it?
So we have you here.
Okay. So there are 3 different types of certification that are currently offered. Now, the only certification is offered through the Society for Simulation in Healthcare. If you are an INACSL member or a member of the Association for Standardized Patient Educators or to the Society for Simulation in Healthcare, there is a reduction. But the exams are either for educators or for operations specialists. The difference is that the Certified Healthcare Simulation Educator is really focused on individuals who are involved in designing and facilitating simulation-based education. So oftentimes this might be faculty or staff development educators. There are 2 options. The first is the CHSE and the second is the CHSE Advanced. The other exam or the other certification option is the CHSLS. This is designed for colleagues who are more on the operations side. So it might be lab coordinators or simulation technicians or technologists, individuals who may not have a primary faculty or education role, but who need to be more of a jack of all trades. There are questions on technologies, connectivity, AV kinds of solutions, as well as some information about mannequins and scenarios. All 3 of these are sponsored by SSH. There is a fee involved. If you are a member of INACSL or SSH, it's $395. It's $100 more if you're not a member. You don't need to be a member, but it does give you a slight discount. Bachelor's degree is required for the CHSE or the CHSLS. If someone does not have a bachelor's degree, there are some opportunities to petition for work equivalent. The advanced educator certification requires a master's degree. You need to have 2 years of continued simulation experience in your particular role, whatever it is that you're seeking, and be able to complete the application as well as provide 3 references. The CHSE and CHSOS are multiple choice exams. The CHCA is an exam, so you have to be the CHSE, and then there's an additional portfolio where you demonstrate your expertise through the work that you've done in simulation. Slide, please. To comment on that, there are now review books available both in print and Kindle versions. There are also review courses available almost monthly throughout the country. None are scheduled locally as far as review for the CHSE, the CHSOS. I believe there is a book in print, but I don't think it's actually available quite yet for that. Another way to show your expertise in simulation and the ability to demonstrate compliance and competence with established standards is through a program accreditation. Again, you do not need to be a member of a simulation society to seek accreditation. This is program specific. It does not mean to have a fixed place. It just means that you are doing a program of simulation, doing simulation for at least 2 years for full accreditation. Or if you're a new program or don't have 2 years worth of data, you can seek provisional accreditation. So this is demonstrating compliance with established standards. In the core section, programs need to have mission and governance, organization management, talk about your facilities, modalities, HR, et cetera, demonstrate how you evaluate and improve performance within your program. And then there's also different functional areas that programs can seek accreditation in. One is teaching and learning. Another is assessment, the highest, meaning high stakes assessment, research or systems integration, how the simulation program is integrated into the healthcare system. So in the teaching, if we look at the next slide, on the SSH website, you can print off a PDF and or Word document of all of the standards. This is a really great document. Even if your simulation program is not interested in seeking accreditation at this time, it's a great tool to, as you're looking at policies, designing processes, because this is a peer-reviewed best practice standards for the industry. So this is just a couple of the one standard for the teaching and learning or teaching and education functional area. So you're reviewing your scenarios. There's an expert that's providing oversight for the simulation program. You're tracking the number of sims that you're doing, that you have courses that are recurring on a regular basis, that you have a certain number of hours of learners in your simulation program. And this is to ensure that a program is doing simulation routinely and regularly. And go to the next slide. So the different societies that I had mentioned all have national conferences. The ones are in order of when they occur during the year. So the first is International Meeting for Simulation in Healthcare. That, as I mentioned, is a very interprofessional. There's some research abstracts that are presented, research in progress, and just a ton of different options for full-time simulationists as well as faculty who are expected or interested in participating in SIM. Through the NLN and CERC, Boise State University also offers an annual simulation conference, and leaders in simulation, nursing leaders who have written books, chapters, and conducted research on a lot of the best practices that we use today often present at this conference. And the third is a conference in June through NACSO. In addition to those big three, there are other national conferences as well. So CAE, Mannequin Manufacturer. They have a conference coming up in February, the Patient Simulation Network. This conference does to be manufacturer specific, and so a lot of content is related to, or the exhibit hall is related to things from that manufacturer. Laerdal has Sun conferences throughout the country, FUN conferences. They're manufactured specific. Again, not that the content is not great. It's wonderful content, but it is not as generic as others. Okay, and then there's more of a SimTech conference. SimGhost offers something in August. This is a conference for folks who are laboratory coordinators or sim technologists who really need to know the AV stuff. And local conferences as well. We have a Simulation 2016 conference that is a two-day conference focused on simulation coming in April. And there are other conferences in a region that may have specific simulation content or at least some sessions that are related to SIM. Self-Educators Conference in April, they're still trying to identify if there will be a simulation-focused conference, but that's not been confirmed.
To do the spring webinars, or do you want to do that one?
If you want to go ahead, that would be great.
Okay. Well, I'm currently filling with Dr. Joseph Buchain from St. Paul College, debriefing webinar in January. He's sending me dates right now, so we'll let you know as soon as I get those, and we'll also have everything in the January newsletter to give you an update of even more things. We do have scheduled for February 24th the use of virtual simulations in your teaching practice. That's by Dr. Laura Schwartz and Dr. Nancy Ruth Liebold from Southwest Minnesota State University. And I have some other webinars that we are looking into, determining objectives for simulation, concept-based simulations, and also we have some people that have done some simulation research. These particular webinars will either be this spring or we may move them into the fall. It just kind of depends upon the scheduling and such. If there are specific things that you want us to have webinars on, please don't hesitate to email me and let me know, because this is for the people in Minnesota. Whatever you need, we will provide. We're also looking at possibly having a tour of a simulation center, and just the time for that. That would be in the spring, and we may even have a presentation at that as well. We're kind of just putting that together right now. And I'm going to have Jeannie Cleary from Ridgewater College, the simulation coordinator there, and she's going to talk to you about our website.
Thank you, Sue. Yes, this is exciting to see all the people on here today. So I'm going to put up the slide that has the link to Health Force Minnesota website, and on you will be able to find all sorts of links, and we'll talk a little bit on how you access it. Once you have joined, go to the website. Has it up here right now, the healthforceminnesota.org/simulation, and once you're in the simulation part, choose the MnSHEP link, MnSHEP, and then the password is simulation, and it's with a capital S for that password as well. And we'll go through each one of these just a little bit, but there's links to Health Partners Clinical Simulation. There's a link in there to ENAXL. For all, the SUN, the Sim Users Network, is on there. The National Council State Board of Nursing, the Sim Study, resources, and we we could spend a whole day on that. The Nurse of the Future simulation website, which gives a lot of resources for simulation. SOS, like you mentioned, and the SSIH, or the Society for Simulation in Healthcare. Sue is very hard to make sure all of these sites are up to date and that we're using, of course, best practice and evidence-based practice as well. So she'll go back up here a little bit to the top and show you how you access again. So this is the simulation. She's logged in already. So you don't see that login where you would click and enter the word simulation, capital S, to get in. Here, home shows you the vision, the mission, the purpose, which we went through already. And on the left hand in the dark blue, she'll go to the different places. There's resources. And it's where you can find just about everything you would like to know about simulation. There's templates here. There's several examples of confidentiality agreements. There's a debriefing template to help you with those questions during debriefing. The blank simulation scenario template, which we've used for all of the simulation that are posted on the website. There is a pre-briefing that used at Ridgewater, and I put up there as a sample for a briefing. We like to have our students come ready to do simulation, and so we've been using Concept Map. And then a Tanner model that I took Tanner's model and use it a little bit for helping with noticing, interpreting, responding, and reflecting during that sim process as well. A nice equipment checklist. There's surveys in there. And if, again, anyone has, just one example of a sim experience survey, but anyone has anything like that that they would like put onto the website, Sue has her email available as well for people to put things to her if you would like to see them on the website. Here's a link to get to the Moulage for Mannequins cookbook, which is part of Ridgewater as well. You can get it through Pocket Nurse Foundation. Money from this cookbook goes back into simulation at Ridgewater. The Simulades website, and also have a website which we need to update soon, known as sickkin.com. I love to put up new recipes and other sick ideas for people. The NLN National Standards. What was that?
Sorry.
Okay. Then nursing standards as well. So the NLN competencies, which Gail, I think, mentioned as well, but you can click on those and get the competencies for simulation and QSIN competencies. And then what Gail also mentioned, the core competencies. The aging suit, you can rent that through this site as well, and that's awesome. There's some pictures, I think, on here as well as students using that. It is a good geriatric simulation that students do like to use. And then of the resource page, and next thing over on the dark blue there is the simulations themselves. And again, Sue's been using our team of experts here as we went in and tried to update a lot of our older scenarios. People volunteered to donate scenarios, so if you have some really tried and true scenarios, you certainly could submit those. But as you see, we did a system and by concept as well. So under cardiac or perfusion, there are some. And if they're under revision, you can still click on them and get to the simulations, but know that there are several people that are going through it for best practice to make sure up to date. The ones in green are the NLN ACEs scenarios. They're available free of charge through that website. Circulation. There's the disaster sim is coming soon from Riverland, I believe. End of life. There are several of them, but then the Julia and Lucy Gray end of life is there as well. The V under the NLN AV, those are veterans simulations that are awesome. Well, and free of charge. And let's see, we've got some B ones that have been updated. A new one under there as well that is a veterans. Leadership just donated through Children's Hospital. And let's see. Want to click on one of those, Sue, or what do you think?
Yeah, go ahead and
Which
one
one?
like
Henry there. Let's do Henry. You just had him go down to COPD.
Okay.
Mainly, I know Henry the best. Okay, Henry and Eartha. One of the ACEs scenarios have is an overview. It has a monologue, so you can listen to them in first person, and then a set of 3 scenarios on each one of these cases. And they start either from acute, they go through transitions of care. They may be at home to acute or acute to a home or transition to a long-term care facility. There's a template for each of them. As well, then there's also a Finish the Story where you can have students read an assignment about how they see Henry and or Eartha in the future.
And then we'll look at the author of this, own Jeannie from River College, who is now talking.
Yeah, that was quite an honor for me to be part of the NLN study. It was a 6-year project, which is done now, and it has been an awesome experience. So we do a lot of Henry here, and you can take these scenarios too, and you can take them and alter them to fit anything that you are presenting. We do a lot of med reconciliation with these because medications are all there. There's a lot of polypharmacy in these, and so to use. There's also the Alzheimer's cases in here as well. So Eartha has been developed as well as one of the Alzheimer's cases. And then if we go back to spend a lot of time, and we have talked about possibly doing a webinar even on this NLN side if people are interested in that. But it's pretty easy to use as well. Okay, and then I think go into maybe the CERC site.
Or do you into one of the planes?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, do one that's been updated already.
I think the test tube one has. We'll into that one.
Okay, that one was kind of one of mine. Let's try a different one because I think I have to do that over.
Oh.
I think I was the only one that reviewed it, so I want to make sure. So
okay.
let's
So with a
one.
child with cancer.
Yeah. Okay. I do use this one. So as you see, it is a Pam Jeffries, the NLN format as well, that we've taken these and fit those to that format. So the simulation learning objectives, fidelity, they recommend you can use either Vital Sim here, or if you're a big standardized patient facility, you could use that as well. Equipment has, been checked what equipment you would want to use for this simulation. We've got things like here you can see this patient comes with an IV. Included as well, and it goes into the, there's rules for each one. Critical lab values as well are on these physician's orders. And then usually a report, what you can give to your students or participants. There should be references, at least one or two references on each one of these as well. And then here's your template for running the scenario. Expected outcomes. There's some cues, and if not, that's things that you could fill in from your facility as well. Because I sometimes think cues you're write yourself when you're running a scenario and figuring out what kind of cues you want to give to your students or participants. Okay, and then debriefing has been included, some guideline questions as well, and just giving some. And if you felt like you wanted to increase complexity, sometimes there is some hints on there on how you could increase complexity. And scenarios are designed for both the LPN program and RN program and people in clinical practice. So there's objectives, patient data, and so we should follow this same format. Add anything?
No, that's fine. And
okay.
We'll now back to actually one thing before we go into the CERC site. Let's just mention newsletter and webinars area.
Yes. Yep. It's been one newsletter has been sent out, but Sue is going to put each one of them here as well, so that you can go in here and look at past newsletters. So we had one in the fall, and that, Sue, just to give them a quick little look again at it, she highlighted some areas that we thought we'd have with each newsletter as well. Again, get to the website, how to, upcoming webinars will be on there. Conferences on there as well. A nice picture here. So if somebody has a publication or an area of interest with simulation, again, we like to include personal highlights as well. And spotlight, so little spotlight corner.
And this particular simulation, it's a 30-minute talk that's right up on this website right here. That's this one right here, how to debrief high-fidelity case-based simulation. Yep. And today, this PDF, the PDF PowerPoint, I've got right here, and then we will also have the recording of this webinar in this area as well, in case you want to go back to it or somebody else needs to listen to it.
Okay, good.
Get back to your CERC area. I think we have to go back to the
and we talked a little bit about some of these other resources too. On the National Council State Board of Nursing Simulation Study, there's a link right to that here as well. So, and just to mention, there's a free download, so you can actually go there and download study and the outcomes of the study. And Minnesota is really looking at this outcome, knowing that 50% simulation was used in that study and that the outcomes were pretty equal to using 100% simulation and 50%. And so I think our state is one that's really looking hard at simulation is clinical. So that'll be interesting to see when the board gets that done. And again, for NLN, there's all sorts of ways to get to NLN, but one of the things they have, there's the CERC site, the Simulation Innovation Resource Center. And I use this site a lot for some resources. this tells a little bit about it. But on the second one, so if you go to courses, I'm going to click into these, but on here are evidence-based, really strong courses you can take as a member. I believe it says up here it's $69. Most of them are 2 credits. And things like debriefing, how to design a sim, they're excellent courses. I've taken a lot of these for 2 credits, so as you can see, there's quite a list there. But I point that out. And then centers and vendors are listed in here as well. And if you click centers, you can see there's a lot of Minnesota places that have already registered on here and have centers. And you can find different centers in Minnesota or your own school. Like I mentioned to Sue, I know that Anoka is on here, and Ridgewater is on here. The Anoka came up right away. Health Partners is on here. So Pine Tech. So there's a whole list of us that have already put our sim centers on here. It's a nice resource to find out where other people are at and what they're doing. Well, good. St. Kate's, Ridgewater. So yeah, lots of good information on this site as well. And then there's research, and homegrown is a new thing they added as well. And I kind of like the homegrown. Just some fun little things that maybe you can submit. I submitted something and they accepted it, and it was just on how to clean your IV arms. Put some pictures on there, and they did it, but you submit a little story about what it is, and there's some videos even on different ones, so that one is growing as well.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and they're just usually just some simple little fun idea that you might have for simulation. Okay. Now, did I miss anything else on our website that we wanted to share, Sue? I just want to make sure we talked about. Of course, Houston, Nurse of the Future, Houston Resources, SimGhost we talked about. Laerdal Sons. As links to get to a lot of these sites are right here. We tried to get a one-stop shopping.
Let's look at some questions here. Okay. Let's see. It's about the PowerPoint out as a PDF. Like I said, I've got that up on the newsletter and webinar site up on the MnSHEP. And where do you purchase the CHSE certification exam review book? That's a question. I don't know if Gail is still on. Do you know about that?
I do not. I have not taken that. I don't know if anybody on has taken it or purchased a book. Not. I think it's right at an Axel that you can on and click, and you find like how to do the test, how to study for the test. There's some study guides on there as well.
Let's look really quick and see if we can find this. Let's see. It would be the CHSE review book. Let's see if it tells us. Here they've got the book references right here.
Perfect.
And so it looks you probably have to go the simulation one, so it's not actually the exam one. But Lori, if you will email me, I can get a hold of Gail and find out further information on that. Oh, hello?
This is Carol. If you go to the SSH website, the Simulation Society for Simulation in Healthcare, they're the ones that through them, not through an Axle.
Oh, there you go. You're right. Yep.
And they have a page that has the exam information, how to prepare for it, that reference that Gail talked about. And I believe that the review book is available through Amazon. And that, I'm pretty sure it is.
And it looks at prep courses over here on the right, and they've got a practice exam, so lots of resources right here on the website. Thank you, Carol.
Right.
Now they have, will we have some sessions related to wellness and health promotion in well populations? We more focus on health promotion, nutrition, lifestyle, please. Thoughts on that, Jeannie? Are there things up on NLN that we could link to for that?
You know, I'm not sure, but I will tell people that we have used a few things ourselves, and anybody else that's done wellness ones, please speak up. But what we did here is we took Red Yoder, who is one of the ACEs cases, did a wellness focus with him on a home visit, and could actually post how we altered that to fit into the wellness focus, and we're happy to post that or send it to you, Sue, to put it on the web. Mm-hmm.
We can do that. That wouldn't be a problem. And if anyone else has a good simulation on wellness and health promotion, please send it our way, and we can certainly get that put up there. I'm going to put my email up here. So would like to email me anything or have specific questions that just like to ask privately, that would be fine too. We've got such a wonderful advisory council that I don't have the expertise in simulation. I'm kind of the behind-the-scenes type person, but we have so many experts on our advisory council that we can certainly help you find whatever you need. I'm so pleased with the help and the guidance that they have given. Can you like to give us, if you're still on there, would you like to just review with us or give us a little feedback on what your research is right now, because you've been doing some research in simulation?
Sure. I actually will be defending my dissertation next week, so it's an anxious time for me right now, but I completed my study, and it was somewhat similar to the National Council study in that I looked at nursing students' clinical judgment, students either in experiences for their clinical or traditional hospital clinical experiences, but it was very limited to maternal newborn clinical setting, and the students reached all of their clinicals. So instead of 25-50% like the National Council of Boards of Nursing, I found schools that were replacing completely their acute care maternal-born clinicals with simulations. And in my study, actually, the results were very similar to the National Council study, and I found that there was no difference in clinical judgment that participated in simulation as compared to the students participated in the traditional maternal newborn clinic. That was very exciting. Some additional findings, and I'm happy to say I'm able to report them at the SSH the conference in January. I'll be there with my poster in one of the lesser rounds, where there's one that it's kind of a presentation, and then the professor asks questions and you thing there. And I'll be publishing, hopefully, writing a manuscript in the spring with results. So, time I've been super busy, but good too.
Well, that's just wonderful. Thank you. And we hope that you'll be able to share in the future about your research. And so for anyone out there, if you're currently doing research, or you have, or if you've published, anything that you would like to share with others in Minnesota, we would certainly like to be able to either develop a webinar for you or put it in our newsletter, whatever we can do to share our expertise across the state. We have another question, and I'm not sure who can answer this because I don't believe that Gail is still on, but it's here to please explain more on certification available for nurse lab technologist specialists. Do you know anything about that, Jeannie?
I don't. I do. I know about as much as what Gail had talked about. How there's actually 3 separate pieces. But I don't. Kara, anyone else have any information?
I don't have any information, but I do believe that there is more detail, as there is with the CHEESY exam. There's more detail on that, the simulation specialist on the SSH website.
On the SSH. So all of those questions are on the SSH. So that's probably the best place to get the information. And Lois mentions that certification is for those involved in operating the mannequins, and that's correct.
Right.
The lab technologist is for those who are the operators. Jeannie, anything else that you would like to add from the NLN website?
I don't think so at this time. We're kind of running out of time, but if people would like more information, they can certainly contact me, or if we thought about even doing a time on that. If people wanted us to, we certainly could, and just go through all the things available there. But I think it's just a matter of really getting in there and with it. But they too have that list of upcoming events. Where they do this is coming up, and I don't know if Rose Raleigh is on the call today, but I know.
Oh,
did
what?
you, Rose?
Yes, and in fact, I have to go back to the PowerPoint because I have to share something with you.
Oh, okay.
That is that Health Force Minnesota is very happy to announce the sponsorship of Rose Raleigh from Century College. It has a leadership development program, simulation educators, and it's a very selective process, and they only accept 20 leaders each year, and Rose has been selected from Minnesota to be on that 2016 NLN Leadership Development Program. And Rose, if you are on, you can just kind of give them a little explanation of what your next year is going to look like.
It looks like it's going to be very busy. So the leadership conference, there's 3 of the NLN conferences we go to, plus a conference, and then there's group work, and the expectation, I believe, is that you create a project to be shared the NLN. So it's good but busy.
So to be looking at her expertise as well as we go along. So lots and lots of expertise within Minnesota. We are just so happy to be able to get this, the MnSHEP going again, and very, very excited that all of you were able to attend our meeting. If you have questions or comments or concerns, please let me know, and I'll get you your answer through our advisory board. And I think at this point we are done, and I'll have this recording up on our website. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending.